A surprising chorus of respected figures publicly backed Jake Paul before he even stepped into the ring with Anthony Joshua. At first glance, it's easy to dismiss these endorsements as clickbait. The Gypsy King supporting an influencer, a promoter-turned-legend predicting an upset, or a celebrated MMA figure suggesting the underdog could land the decisive blow. But if you listen closely, there's logic behind each contrarian voice. Faith in a puncher's chance, respect for the progress of a non-traditional fighter, and an understanding that in heavyweight boxing, one clean shot can instantly shift odds and rewrite careers. Tyson Fury's prediction was the loudest and most attention-grabbing. He didn't hedge or joke. He said he would back Paul, even going so far as to publicly state a $1 million wager, claiming Jake Paul could land the punch to take Joshua down. Fury isn't just talk. He's a former world champion whose words carry weight. By suggesting Joshua might be past his peak and Paul on the rise, Fury simultaneously questioned Joshua's trajectory and lent serious credibility to Paul's chances. For fans of heavyweight boxing, Fury's comments caused an immediate recalibration. In a division where one strike can change everything, confidence and belief often matter as much as stats and spread.
Possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight.
Oscar De La Hoya brought a different perspective. As both a promoter and a former fighter with decades of in-ring experience, he publicly predicted a Jake Paul knockout. For De La Hoya, it wasn't a hot take, it was an acknowledgement that Paul's progression went beyond publicity stunts. While controversial to purists, Paul's growth had produced measurable results. When someone who has shaped careers and analyzed fighters for decades predicts an underdog can win by knockout, it's based on tangible signs. Legitimate power on tape, improved timing, and the confidence to land that one perfect shot. It becomes a realistic scenario, not just fantasy. Other voices outside traditional boxing echoed similar sentiments. Demetrius Johnson, the former UFC flyweight champion known for his timing and fight IQ, suggested that Paul's unconventional angles and punch patterns could exploit the short overhand rights that had historically troubled Joshua. Johnson framed it as a technical possibility rather than tribal support, an analysis rooted in observed tendencies and past vulnerabilities. That type of insight carries weight among coaches and analysts, signaling that an upset isn't mere noise, but a plausible outcome based on technical patterns. Rolando Romero approached it differently. Less technical, more cultural. He pointed to Paul's momentum, charisma, and ability to command attention as factors that could influence the fight. To Romero, the underdog's confidence, backed by his narrative and public presence, could act almost like plot armor, subtly affecting crowd energy, fighter psychology, and the overall dynamics inside the ring. In a sport where spectacle matters, narrative itself can become a strategic advantage. Even outside analysts, fighters like Nate Diaz made their voices heard. By publicly betting on Paul, Diaz sent a signal that the underdog's chances were tangible enough to risk capital. While betting isn't predictive, it acts as a cultural thermometer, shaping perceptions across combat sports fans. Technical voices like Paulie Malignaggi added another layer. Instead of declaring a Paul victory, he outlined a pathway, using movement, clinching, and smart infighting to offset Joshua's size and open opportunities for a decisive punch. These analyses transform an underdog's chance from mere hype into a plausible, strategic blueprint, something coaches and fighters can actually study and attempt to execute.
With AJ, the way he handled Francis Ngannou, who I think was also a bit of a sideshow fight, but was much more dangerous than Jake Paul. And you saw the way AJ took that very seriously and got rid of his opponent very, very quickly and in a destructive fashion. I see something similar here in this situation. But, you know, these are discussion points, talking points.
Then there are the smaller but still meaningful endorsements from fighters who understand what it's like to step into danger and come out on top. Andy Ruiz Jr., who famously upset Anthony Joshua in 2019, offered Paul practical guidance and encouragement, essentially telling him not to be intimidated. Ruiz's endorsement carries weight because he's lived the exact experience of taking down Joshua. His confidence in Paul isn't speculation, it's rooted in precedent. He knows the angles Joshua has been vulnerable to, and his advice was a tangible sign that former opponents saw openings a focused challenger could exploit. What ties all these endorsements together isn't blind optimism, but a set of recurring, reasoned arguments. Paul has improved. Heavyweights are inherently volatile. Joshua has been caught by awkward, short punches before, and narrative momentum, celebrity backing, and psychological forces can subtly shift a fight's context. Each voice matters in its own way. Fury's million-pound wager grabbed attention and reshaped public conversation because of his heavyweight pedigree. De La Hoya's knockout prediction carried both technical insight and decades of promotional intuition, showing how underdogs can leverage attention and momentum. Demetrius Johnson provided a technical read, translating combat patterns across disciplines to highlight vulnerabilities in Joshua's style. Ruiz offered lived experience, practical counsel from someone who's done it before. Romero and Diaz added the psychological and cultural dimension, emphasizing belief, charisma, and the intangible momentum that can tilt fights. Finally, Malignaggi mapped out tactical pathways, giving a concrete blueprint for how Paul could make the matchup competitive. Taken together, these voices form a lattice of reasons that Jake Paul's chance wasn't mere bravado. It was a constellation of plausible, cross-validated scenarios grounded in history, technique, and the modern dynamics of combat sports.
Finally, what is your prediction, Jake?
Probably the 6th or 7th round knockout.
And that's it.
I'm fucking him up, Burial!
None of this changes the fact that betting markets and most purists favored Joshua. Yet the contrarian voices transformed the matchup from a likely formality into a live, compelling event. When respected figures publicly suggested an upset was possible, it shifted expectations, added tension, and made fans watch with a sharper eye. Those endorsements did what predictions are meant to do. They altered the mood, influenced market perceptions, and added layers of context beyond simple punch stats or resumes. They forced the boxing world to consider narrative, fighter trajectories, and the ever-present volatility of a single punch. That's it for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more insights and analysis.